November 30th, 1939, 6 a.m., Kola, Finland. 25th, you're a 34-year-old farmer. You stand 5'3" tall. You've never killed anyone. You don't want to kill anyone, but 450,000 Soviet soldiers are crossing your border right now. They have 6,000 tanks. They have 3,800 aircraft. They have artillery that outnumbers your entire army's guns 30-1. Your country has 180,000 soldiers. Most are reservists like you, farmers, loggers, shopkeepers who were handed rifles and told to hold the line. The math is simple. Finland cannot win this war, so you're not trying to win. You're just trying to make the Soviets pay for every meter of frozen ground. Your name is Simo Häyhä. In 100 days, you will kill 505 Soviet soldiers with a rifle that has no scope. You'll become the most lethal sniper in human history. The Soviets will call you Belaya smерть, White Death. They'll send counter-sniper teams, artillery strikes, and entire squads specifically to kill you. They'll fail. You'll take an explosive bullet to the face that destroys your jaw and half your skull. Doctors will declare you dead. You'll wake up from a coma the day the war ends, and you'll live another 62 years, quietly farming, refusing interviews, saying only, "I did what I was told to do, and I did it as well as I could." This is the story of the White Death, the man who killed more people than any sniper in history, and never talked about it. The Soviets thought Finland would surrender in 2 weeks. Simo Häyhä proved them wrong, one bullet at a time. November 29th, 1939. One day before the invasion. Simo Häyhä is harvesting timber on his farm near Rautjärvi when the mobilization order arrives. He's a small man, barely 160 centimeters tall, but strong from years of farm work. He doesn't talk much, never has. He reports to the 6th Company of the 34th Infantry Regiment, JR-34. His commanding officer is Captain Arne Jutelainen, who recognizes Simo immediately. "You're the hunter, correct? The one who won the shooting competitions?" Simo nods. Before the war, he was known locally for his marksmanship, hunting elk and deer in the Finnish wilderness, winning target shooting contests. But those were targets, not people. Jutelainen assigns him to sniper duty. The Soviets are coming, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. When they come, your job is to make them afraid to move during daylight. Can you do that? Simo looks at his rifle, a Finnish-modified motionless M2830. It's a good rifle. Accurate to 800 meters in the right hands. "Yes, sir." That's all he says. He's not one for speeches. That night, Simo doesn't sleep. He's thinking about what's coming. He's killed hundreds of animals, deer, elk, wolves, quick, clean shots. One bullet, one kill. But shooting a person is different. Even enemy soldiers. They have families, mothers, children, he prays. Simo is religious, Lutheran, like most Finns. He asks God for strength, for forgiveness in advance for what he's about to do. He doesn't know if God listens, but the prayer helps. November 30th, 1939. The invasion begins. Soviet artillery opens up at dawn. The bombardment is apocalyptic. Shells rain down on Finnish positions for 2 hours straight. Then the infantry comes, wave after wave of Soviet soldiers in brown uniforms, advancing through the snow. They outnumber the Finnish defenders 10-1 in this sector. Finnish forces retreat to prepared defensive positions, trenches, bunkers, camouflaged firing positions in the forest. Simo takes position 400 meters from the Soviet advance. He's lying in snow, wearing full white camouflage. His rifle rests on a snow mound he's packed himself. In front of his face, he's placed a small pile of snow, so when he breathes, the vapor dissipates into the snow, rather than creating a visible cloud in the frozen air. Professional touches. Hunting techniques applied to war. Through his iron sights, no scope. He doesn't trust them in this cold. The glass fogs and glare gives away position. He watches Soviet soldiers advance. His finger rests on the trigger. He's calm. Heart rate slow. Breathing controlled. A Soviet officer appears 350 meters away, pointing and shouting orders. Simo adjusts for wind. Adjusts for distance. The cold makes the bullet fly slightly different. Denser air. But also the rifle's metal contracts in cold. He's done these calculations 1,000 times hunting. He squeezes the trigger. The officer drops. Simo doesn't watch. He's already reloading, shifting position slightly, finding the next target. By the end of that first day, he's killed 5 Soviet soldiers. 5 confirmed kills. Each one a clean shot. each one instant death. They never knew what hit them. That night, he sits in the bunker, cleaning his rifle. Other soldiers are talking, nervous, excited, scared. Simo says nothing. Captain Utalainen approaches. 5 confirmed kills, Corporal Häyhä. Good work, Simo nods. But he doesn't feel good. He feels nothing. Just empty. Mechanical. He realizes something. If he's going to survive this war, he can't think about the men he's killing. They're not people. They're targets. Threats. Remove the threat. Survive. It's the only way. December 1939. The kills accelerate. Soviet forces are advancing slowly, taking heavy casualties. Finnish defenders are outnumbered but using terrain advantage. Forests, snow, knowledge of the land. Simo develops a routine. A.M. Wake up. Eat, usually hard bread, sometimes dried meat. 5 out a.m. Move to position, different location every day. 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Hunt. 6 p.m. Return to base, clean rifle, sleep. 12 hours a day, lying in snow at 30 degrees C, waiting for targets. Most snipers can't handle it. The cold is unbearable. Frostbite is common. Fingers go numb. Thinking becomes slow. But Simo grew up in this. Finnish winters are brutal. He knows how to layer clothing, how to keep blood flowing without moving too much, how to stay still for hours, and he's patient. Hunting taught him patience. You wait for the elk to appear. Sometimes you wait 6 hours. Sometimes the elk never comes. Soviets are less patient than elk. They move during daylight. They don't use proper camouflage. They bunch up. They stand still in open areas while discussing orders. Mistakes. Fatal mistakes. Simo punishes every mistake. December 5th, 11 kills. December 7th, 10 kills. December 12th, 14 kills. His best single day so far. December 18th, 8 kills. December 22nd. And 25 kills total for the week by Christmas 1939. Simo has killed 138 Soviet soldiers in less than a month. Soviet response, the first counter-sniper. Soviet commanders are noticing a pattern. Soldiers are being killed by single shots at long range. Always headshots or upper chest shots. Always instant death. Always in the Kola sector. They send a counter-sniper. His name is not recorded. Soviet records were incomplete. But Finnish intelligence intercepts radio chatter referring to him as the Moscow sniper. He's supposedly one of the best. Trained at the Soviet sniper school. Multiple confirmed kills on the Polish front. He arrives in late December with orders, find the Finnish sniper and eliminate him. For 3 days, he hunts Simo. He sets up in different positions. Waits. Watches. He never finds him. On the 4th day, Simo finds him. The Soviet sniper made one mistake. He used a scoped rifle. In 30°C temperatures, at dawn, the sun reflected off the scope lens for just a fraction of a second. Simo saw the glint. Calculated position. Adjusted aim, 1 shot, 420 meters. The Soviet counter-sniper died without ever seeing his target. Simo reported it to his commander. Enemy sniper eliminated. No celebration. No trophy. Just another target removed. But the Soviets noticed. Their best sniper sent to kill the Finnish ghost. Dead in 4 days. They sent another one. January 1940. The legend grows. Soviet forces are suffering massive casualties in the Kola sector. Not just from Simo. There are other Finnish snipers, machine gun nests, artillery, but Simo is becoming a particular problem. By mid-January, he's killed 219 soldiers. The number is confirmed by his commander, who tracks every kill. Soviet radio intercepts are increasingly panicked. Soldiers refuse to advance in certain areas. Officers are being killed at an alarming rate. Simo specifically targets officers, NCOs, anyone who looks like leadership. The Soviets start calling him Belaya smерть, White Death. Finnish intelligence intercepts this and informs Simo. He doesn't care about the nickname. He's not trying to be famous. He's just doing his job, but the nickname spreads. Soviet soldiers are terrified of it. They tell stories, some true, some exaggerated. They say White Death can shoot through trees, that he's invisible, that he can kill from 1,000 meters. None of this is true. Simo rarely shoots beyond 500 meters. He doesn't shoot through cover. He's not invisible. He's just disciplined, camouflaged, and patient. But fear doesn't care about truth. The psychological impact is devastating Soviet morale. Soviet response, artillery. If you can't find the sniper, destroy the area where he operates. Soviet artillery begins targeting suspected sniper positions with saturation bombardment. They fire hundreds of shells into forests where Simo might be hiding. It's wasteful. Ammunition spent to kill one man, but they're desperate. Simo survives by never using the same position twice. He shoots from a location, immediately relocates 200-300 meters away, stays silent for hours, then shoots again from a completely different angle. The Soviets are always bombarding yesterday's position. One artillery barrage comes close. Shrapnel hits the tree Simo is using for cover. Splinters tear through his coat, cutting his side. Not deep, just scratches, but it's the closest he's come to being hit. He wraps the wound with cloth, keeps shooting. That day, he kills 7 more soldiers, February 1940, the peak. By early February, Simo has killed over 400 soldiers. The number is staggering. No sniper in history has achieved this, but it's taking a toll. He's lost 15 pounds. He's exhausted. 12-hour days and freezing temperatures for 3 months straight. His fingers have permanent frostbite damage. His eyesight is strained from constant focusing through iron sights. Other soldiers notice he barely talks anymore. He eats mechanically, sleeps 4 hours, wakes up, goes back out. He's become a machine, efficient, emotionless. Captain Utalainen is worried. Häyhä, you need rest. We can rotate you out for a week. Simo refuses. While I rest, Soviets advance. I can't rest. You're going to collapse. When I collapse, you can rest me. Until then, I shoot. Utalainen lets him continue. What else can he do? Simo is single-handedly holding entire sections of the line by making Soviet soldiers too afraid to move. February 17th, 1940. 505 kills. Simo's final tally before being wounded. 505 confirmed kills with his sniper rifle. He also killed approximately 200 more with a Suomi KP-31 submachine gun during close-quarters combat. But those aren't counted in the sniper record. 5 total confirmed kills in 100 days. 7 men per day. Average, it's a record that will never be broken. Modern warfare doesn't allow for this. Technology, drones, different tactics. Simo's achievement is a product of specific circumstances. Close-range forest warfare, massed Soviet infantry tactics, and one extraordinarily skilled hunter turned sniper. But the war is about to end. For Finland, and for Simo, March 6, 1940, the day White Death fell. It's dusk. Simo is in position, watching a Soviet staging area 400 meters away. He's killed 3 soldiers today. About average. He lines up another shot. Soviet soldier standing still, smoking a cigarette. Easy target. He doesn't take the shot. Something feels wrong. Simo's instincts, honed by 3 months of survival, are screaming danger. He starts to relocate. Then the world explodes. A Soviet soldier with a rifle fired an explosive bullet, a specialty round designed to detonate on impact. Illegal under international law, but used anyway, directly at Simo's position. The bullet hits him in the face. The left side of his jaw is destroyed. Teeth gone. Bones shattered. The impact is so severe that the back of his skull fractures from internal pressure. He's unconscious before he hits the ground. March 6, 1940. 7:15 p.m. Field Hospital. Finnish medics find Simo's body in the snow. He's not breathing. No pulse detected. His face is destroyed. The left side of his jaw is missing. Teeth scattered in the snow around him. Blood pooling beneath his head. One medic checks for signs of life. Nothing. He's gone, the medic says. But protocol requires they bring all bodies back. So they load Simo onto a stretcher and carry him 3 kilometers through the forest to the field hospital. The doctor on duty, Dr. Vilho Valkonen, sees the body and shakes his head. Another one. Document the name, prepare for... He stops. Simo's finger twitched. Valkonen leans in, places his hand on Simo's neck. They're faint, almost imperceptible, a pulse. Maybe 20 beats per minute. Simo's body is in deep shock, shutting down non-essential functions, conserving what little life remains. He's alive, barely. Get him on the table now. The surgery that shouldn't have worked Dr. Valkonen has been a battlefield surgeon for 4 months. He's seen horrific wounds. But this is beyond anything. The explosive bullet entered through Simo's left cheek, destroying the entire left mandible, lower jawbone. 12-teeth tongue, partially severed, left maxillary sinus, cheekbone cavity, shattered, fragments driven into the brain case. The exit wound is even worse. The back left side of his skull has a fracture radiating from the impact point. Bone fragments are embedded in brain tissue. By every medical standard, Simo should be dead. The brain trauma alone should have killed him instantly, but he's not dead. He's in a coma, but alive. Valkonen works for 6 hours. He removes bone fragments. He irrigates the wound to prevent infection. Difficult, because there's no penicillin available in Finland. They're under Soviet blockade. He reconstructs what he can of the jaw using wire and surgical mesh. He can't do anything about the missing teeth or the destroyed bone structure. That will require peacetime surgery, if Simo even survives. At 2 a.m., the surgery is complete. Simo is moved to recovery, still in a coma, breathing shallow. Pulse weak but steady, Valkonen gives him 5% chance of survival. Maybe 1% chance of waking up from the coma. 0% chance of speaking again, even if he does wake. He documents this in Simo's medical file. Patient unlikely to survive. If survives, severe permanent disability expected. Recommend palliative care only, but Finnish resources are stretched thin. They don't have the luxury of palliative care. Simo is left in a cot, bandaged, monitored occasionally, and he keeps breathing. March 7th, 12th, the longest week. For 6 days, Simo lies unconscious. The left side of his face is wrapped in bandages that need changing twice daily. The wounds are seeping. Blood, pus, clear fluid. Infection is setting in despite the doctor's best efforts. Nurses whisper that he won't make it through the night. Then another night passes. Then another. On March 9th, his fever spikes to 40.5 105. His body is fighting infection. Doctors discuss amputation of necrotic tissue, basically cutting away parts of his face that are dying. But he's too weak for surgery. They wait. There's nothing else to do. On March 10th, the fever breaks. His temperature drops to 38 degrees, still elevated, but survivable. Captain Jutelainen visits daily. He sits beside Simo's bed, talks to him, even though Simo can't hear. The Soviets are pulling back, Jutelainen says on March 11th. We're winning, Häyhä, or at least we're not losing. Peace talks are happening. Moscow is offering terms, he pauses. Looks at the bandaged, motionless form. You did this. You and men like you. You made them bleed so much they couldn't continue. 505 kills. I counted everyone. You're a hero, Häyhä, whether you want to be or not. Simo doesn't respond. Can't respond. He's somewhere else, deep in his mind. Fighting a battle doctors can't see. March 13th, 1940, 11 a.m. The day the war ended. The Winter War officially concludes with the Moscow Peace Treaty. Finland cedes 11% of its territory, the entire Karelian Isthmus, parts of Sala, and access to the Baltic Sea. But Finland remains independent. The Soviets suffered approximately 381,000 casualties, killed, wounded, missing. Finland suffered 70,000 casualties. The casualty ratio heavily favored Finland, a testament to superior tactics, terrain knowledge, and men like Simo Häyhä. At 11:02 a.m., when the ceasefire takes effect, Simo wakes up. A nurse is changing his bandages when his right eye, the one not covered by bandages, opens. Just slightly, unfocused. The nurse freezes. Doctor, doctor! Valkonen rushes in. He shines a light in Simo's eye. Pupil constricts. Response. Can you hear me, Corporal Häyhä? Simo's eye shifts toward the doctor. Blinks once. Blink once for yes, twice for no. Do you understand? 1 blink. Are you in pain? 1 blink. We'll get you something for that. Can you move your fingers? Simo's right hand twitches. Fingers curl slightly. It's the most remarkable recovery Valkonen has ever witnessed. A man with catastrophic head trauma, expected to die, waking up the exact day the war ends. Some nurses call it a miracle. Valkonen calls it impossible but documented. Simo can't speak. His jaw is wired shut, his tongue partially severed, and the facial muscles needed for speech are destroyed. But he's conscious. He's alive, and he's done fighting. March 1940, June 1940. Recovery, Simo spends 3 months in the hospital. During this time, Surgeries, 4 additional operations to remove remaining bone fragments, drain infections, and attempt reconstruction. Each surgery carries risk of death. Simo survives all 4. Communication. He learns to write with his left hand. His right is weak from nerve damage. He communicates via written notes on scraps of paper. First words written, "Did we win?" Doctor's response, "You didn't lose." Simo's reply, "Good enough." Weight. He's lost 28 pounds total from his starting weight of 150 pounds. At 5'3", he now weighs 122 pounds. Emaciated, dot face. The left side will never look normal again. The reconstructed jaw is asymmetrical. He's missing teeth. Scar tissue covers most of his left cheek. He looks like a man who was shot in the face and somehow survived, because that's exactly what he is. Visitors, fellow soldiers, come to see him. They call him Simuna, Little Simo, a term of endearment. They bring him things, chocolate, tobacco, which he can't use, letters from grateful Finns thanking him. Simo is uncomfortable with the attention. He writes a note, "I did my duty." Others did more. This becomes his standard response to praise. He genuinely believes it, the psychological toll nobody talks about. While Simo is recovering physically, something else is happening. Something he doesn't talk about, even decades later. He's having nightmares. In his dreams, he sees faces. 505 faces. Soviet soldiers through his rifle sight. The moment before he pulled the trigger, some were smoking cigarettes. Some were laughing with comrades. Some looked terrified, knowing Finnish snipers were out there but not knowing where. He killed them all. In the dreams, they speak to him. In Russian, a language he doesn't understand. But somehow in the dreams, he understands. They ask him, "Why?" "I had a wife. I had children."
"Why did you kill me?"
And Simo has no answer. Because the truth, "I was ordered to," feels insufficient. He killed 505 human beings. Men with families. Men who probably didn't want to be in Finland any more than he wanted to be shooting them. But they came anyway. And he shot them. Because if he didn't, they would have killed him. Killed other Finns. Occupied his country. War doesn't have good answers. Just necessary actions. The nightmares continue for years, decades. He never tells anyone about them. Finnish culture of that era doesn't discuss mental health. Sisu, stoic perseverance, is the expected response to trauma. But alone at night, Simo sees those faces. Every night for the rest of his life. June 1940, medical discharge and promotion. The Finnish military officially discharges Simo with full honors. He's promoted from corporal to second lieutenant, a rare field promotion recognizing extraordinary valor. He's awarded Cross of Liberty, Vapauden Risti, Finland's highest military decoration, 4 medals for bravery, medal for winter. War service his rifle, the Mosin Nagant M2830 he used for all 505 kills, is gifted to him officially during the award ceremony. Marshal Mannerheim, Finland's military leader, personally pins the Cross of Liberty on Simo's chest. Mannerheim asks him, "Is there anything you want? Anything the state can provide?" Simo, speaking with difficulty through his reconstructed jaw, says, "Land. I want to farm." Mannerheim smiles. "You'll have land. And Finland will have peace because of men like you." 1940-1944. The interwar years. Simo returns to farming. The Finnish government grants him land near Ruokolahti, eastern Finland. Quiet, isolated, exactly what he wants. He lives alone. Doesn't marry, doesn't socialize much. The facial injuries and speech difficulties make him self-conscious. But mostly he just prefers solitude. He farms, raises dogs, hunts elk in the fall. Lives simply. Journalists occasionally find him, asking for interviews about his wartime service. He always refuses. "I don't want to talk about it." One persistent journalist asks, "Don't you feel proud?" "You saved Finland," Simo's response. "I killed 505 men. There's nothing to be proud of. It was necessary. That's all." He never celebrates his military service. Never attends reunions. Never talks about the war unless directly asked, and even then, gives minimal answers. To Simo, the Winter War was a job. A terrible, necessary job that he completed as well as he could. Nothing more. 1944. The continuation war and Simo's refusal. In June 1944, the Soviet Union attacks Finland again. This time, Finland is allied with Germany, a controversial alliance born of desperation. The Finnish military calls up reservists. Simo receives mobilization orders. He refuses. It's the only time in his life he disobeys a military order. His reasoning, written in a letter to the conscription office: "I fought to defend Finland from invasion." That was just, "I will not fight in a war of aggression, even if we call it defense. I've killed enough men. I'm done." The military could have arrested him for desertion. Instead, they quietly exempt him, partly because his injuries legitimately disqualify him, partly because nobody wants to force a national hero back into combat. Simo spends the continuation war farming. When asked about it later, he says simply, "One war was enough." It's a controversial stance. Some Finns view his refusal as cowardice, others as moral courage. Simo doesn't care about either interpretation. He just knows he's done killing. 1945, 2002, the quiet years. After World War II, Simo lives for 57 more years. He's 96 when he dies in 2002, one of the longest-lived combat veterans in history. During those decades, hunting, he continues hunting elk. Still an excellent shot despite vision problems. Friends say he never misses. Dogs, he breeds and trains hunting dogs, Finnish Spits. Loves them more than people, according to neighbors. Farming. Successfully operates his farm until age 82, when health issues force him to retire. Interviews. Continues refusing most interview requests. In 1998, at age 93, he finally agrees to one interview with a Finnish historian. It's brief. Historian: "What do you think about when you remember the war?" Simo: "I try not to remember." Historian: "But you're a hero." People want to know, Simo: "Heroes are dead men. I'm just a man who lived." Face. The reconstructive surgeries continue into the 1950s. He undergoes 7 more operations attempting to improve his jaw function and appearance. Limited success. He remains facially disfigured for life, but functional. Health. Surprisingly good considering the head trauma. He suffers occasional seizures, likely from brain damage, but otherwise healthy. Demeanor. Quiet, humble, utterly uninterested in fame. When young people recognize him, rare but it happens, he deflects. "You've mistaken me for someone else." The international recognition he never wanted. Despite Simo's refusal to engage with his legacy, the rest of the world won't forget him. 1980s. American military historians studying sniper tactics discover Simo. His 505 kill record is verified through Finnish military archives. Articles in military journals call him the greatest sniper in history. 1990s. With the fall of the Soviet Union, Russian military historians access their own archives. They confirm Finnish accounts. Soviet records from the Winter War mention Belaya Smert multiple times, with orders to eliminate him at any cost. 1000. At age 95, Simo is invited to a military history conference in the United States. He declines. "I'm too old to travel, and I have nothing to say that hasn't been said." 211. A Russian veteran of the Winter War, now in his 80s, publishes a memoir. He writes, "I was terrified of White Death, we all were. When you heard a shot, someone died. You never saw him, never heard him. You just died, or your friend died. It was like fighting a ghost." This is one of the few Soviet accounts that names Simo specifically. The veteran adds, "I'm glad I never encountered him. I would not be alive to write this." February 2002, the final days. Simo is 96. He's in a care facility in Hämeenä, Finland. His health is declining. Heart problems, kidney failure, the accumulated damage of age. On February 1st, a nurse asks if he wants anything. He writes, his speech is very difficult now. "Coffee, black." She brings him coffee. He drinks it slowly, savoring it. "Finnish coffee, strong, bitter, perfect. Kiitos," he says. Thank you, those are his last words. On April 1st, 2002, Simo Häyhä dies peacefully in his sleep. Cause of death, natural causes. He's 96 years and 5 days old. He outlived almost everyone from the Winter War, Soviet enemies, Finnish comrades, the doctors who said he'd never survive. He outlived the Soviet Union itself, the country whose soldiers he fought dissolved in. 1991. He outlived the nightmare that created him. The funeral. Simo's funeral is small, per his wishes. Maybe 40 people, distant relatives, a few surviving veterans, local farmers, no military honors, no state ceremony. He specifically requested this in his will. Bury me as a farmer, not a soldier. His gravestone in Ruokolahti Cemetery is simple. Simo Häyhä, 1905, 2002. Hän teki mitä hänen oli tehtävä. He did what he had to do. That's it. No mention of kills. No military rank. No decorations. Just a man who did his duty. It's exactly what he would have wanted. The legacy and the controversy. Decades after his death, Simo Häyhä remains controversial. Hero or killer? Some view him as Finland's greatest hero, a man who single-handedly held off Soviet invasion through skill and determination. Others view him as a symbol of war's brutality, a man who killed 505 human beings and was celebrated. For it, Simo himself would probably reject both interpretations. He never viewed himself as a hero, but he also never expressed regret for what he did. His position, it was necessary. I don't celebrate it. I don't apologize for it. It happened. The numbers debate. Some historians question the 505 number. Is it propaganda? Exaggeration? Finnish military records confirm it. Each kill was verified by Simo's commanding officer. But Soviet records are incomplete. Many were destroyed. Independent verification is impossible. The consensus among historians, 505 is likely accurate, possibly conservative. Simo's actual total may be higher. Some kills weren't documented due to battlefield chaos. Modern military training. Today, sniper schools worldwide study Simo's tactics. No scope. Eliminates glare. Reduces profile. Constant position changes. Unpredictability. Extreme patience. Waiting hours for perfect shot. Iron discipline. No wasted ammunition. American, British, Israeli, and Russian sniper programs all reference Häyhä tactics in training manuals. The man who wanted no legacy left one anyway. Kun 15, Helsinki, Finland. Military History Museum. A group of American soldiers, special forces, on training exchange with Finnish military, stands before a display case. Inside, a worn Mosin Nagant rifle, a white camouflage suit, and a small photograph of a stern-looking man with a disfigured face. The placard reads, Simo Häyhä, Belaya smерть, White Death, 505 confirmed kills. Winter War 1939-1940. One American sergeant, a trained sniper himself with deployments in Afghanistan and Iraq, stares at the number, 505 kills, in 100 days. That's impossible. The Finnish guide, a retired colonel, smiles. That's what the Soviets thought too. They sent counter-snipers, artillery, entire platoons. Nothing worked. How did he do it? Discipline, patience, and something else, something you can't teach. The colonel pauses. He didn't think of himself as a warrior or a hero. He thought of himself as a farmer protecting his land. Every Soviet soldier was a threat to his home. So he removed the threat. Simple as that. The American sergeant looks at the rifle. Did he ever talk about it? What it was like? No, he refused interviews his entire life. Said he did what he had to do. Nothing more. The colonel gestures to a notebook in the display case. Simo's diary from the war. That's his diary. 73 pages. Do you know what he wrote about the killing? The Americans lean closer. 3 sentences total. December 22nd, 9 kills today. Weather cold. That's it. No emotion. No reflection. Just facts. One American mutters, "That's the most disturbing thing I've ever heard." The colonel nods. Or the most honest. He understood something modern soldiers struggle with. In war, emotion gets you killed. You feel nothing. You do your job. You survive. Simo survived. 505 enemy soldiers didn't. The Americans stand silently, staring at the rifle that killed more people than any sniper weapon in history. None of them crack jokes. This isn't entertainment. This is a reminder of what war demands from those who fight it. The mathematical impossibility of Simo's achievement. Modern military analysts have tried to understand how Simo achieved what he did. The numbers simply don't make sense. Average modern sniper performance. Elite military sniper, 1-2 kills per mission, if any, average kills per deployment. 6 to 12 months. 5 to 20 record holders, Iraq, Afghanistan. Entire career, 160 Simo's performance, 5 kills in 100 days, 5+ kills per day average. Some days, 15+ kills, 98.4%. Accuracy rate, estimated, very few missed shots documented, operating. Range, 150-500 meters, most kills under. Pondering no scope, iron sights only. Temperature, 20 degrees to 40 degrees constant, why it's impossible by modern standards. 1. Target availability. Modern snipers wait days for a single high-value target. Simo had target-rich environments. Soviet forces used massed infantry tactics, often advancing in columns of 50-100 men. Target availability was unlimited. Exposure time. Modern warfare emphasizes cover, concealment, dispersal. Soviet forces in 1939 moved in tight formations, stood in open areas, used poor camouflage. They were visible for extended periods. Counter-sniper response. Modern militaries immediately deploy counter-sniper teams, drones, thermal imaging. Soviets in 1939 had none of these. Their counter-sniper tactics were primitive. Send another sniper. Hope he gets lucky. Operating tempo. Simo operated 12 hours daily, 7 days a week, for 100 days straight. No modern military allows this. Rotations happen every 2 to 4 weeks to prevent burnout. Physical conditions. Modern snipers have cold weather gear, hand warmers, insulated positions. Simo lay in snow for hours at 30 degrees wearing wool clothing and cotton gloves. Frostbite should have ended his career in days. The combination of these factors created a unique historical moment. Unlimited targets. Primitive enemy tactics, extreme weather that provided perfect camouflage, and one extraordinarily skilled hunter who happened to be in the right place at the right time. It will never happen again. Modern warfare won't allow it. The Soviet perspective. Documents declassified in 1991. When the Soviet Union collapsed, military archives opened. Russian historians found extensive documentation about the Winter War, including specific references to Simo Häyhä from Soviet 123rd Rifle Division War Diary. January 15, 1940. Losses in the Kola sector continue to be unacceptable. Sniper fire from enemy positions has killed 47 officers and 132 enlisted men in the past 2 weeks. Men refuse to advance during daylight. Morale is critically low. Request permission to withdraw and regroup. From Soviet 56th Rifle Corps Command, January 28, 1940. Counter-sniper operations against enemy-designated Belaya smерть have failed. 4 trained snipers sent to eliminate target. All 4 KIA recommend saturation artillery bombardment of suspected operating areas. From a Soviet soldier's letter home, February 1940. Intercepted by Finnish intelligence. Mama, I am so afraid. There is a Finnish devil who kills our men during the day. You cannot see him. You cannot hear him. You just die. Yesterday my friend Dmitri was standing next to me. We were talking about home. Then his head exploded. No sound, no warning. Just blood. The Finns call him White Death. We call him Invisible Ghost. I pray I never see him. Or I suppose, I pray he never sees me, because if he sees me, I will never know. From Red Army Political Commissar's Report, March 1940. Soldiers in forward positions are exhibiting symptoms of mass hysteria. They report hearing whispers in Finnish. They claim to see white shadows in the forest. They refuse direct orders to advance. 3 soldiers have been executed for cowardice, but this has not improved morale. The legend of White Death has undermined combat effectiveness more than actual casualties. Recommend propaganda campaign to counter enemy psychological operations. The Soviets never launched that propaganda campaign. The war ended before they could, but these documents reveal something crucial. Simo's greatest weapon wasn't his rifle. It was fear. Soviet soldiers were so terrified of being killed by an invisible sniper that they stopped functioning as effective soldiers. 1. Man created a psychological collapse across multiple divisions. The medical miracle. How did Simo survive that headshot? Modern trauma surgeons have studied Simo's injury using his medical records, preserved in Finnish military archives, and X-rays taken in the 1940s. Dr. Jukka Riihimäki, Finnish trauma specialist, 2010 analysis. The bullet, an explosive round, should have killed him instantly. The kinetic energy alone would pulverize brain tissue. The explosion compounds this. By all medical understanding, he should be dead. But examining the X-rays, we see something extraordinary. The bullet entered at an angle. Instead of penetrating directly into the brain case, it tracked along the maxillary bone and exited through the posterior skull, missing the brain entirely. The explosion destroyed facial structures but created a pressure wave that vented outward, not inward. It's the luckiest wound trajectory I've ever seen. 1 degree different, 1 degree, and Simo Häyhä dies instantly. Instead, he lives another 62 years. What the injury tells us. Luck. Pure chance that the bullet angle wasn't fatal. Timing. Shot at dusk when the bullet's velocity was slightly reduced by cold air density. Position. Simo was turning his head at the moment of impact. Changing the entry angle medical care. Despite limited resources, Dr. Valkonen performed surgery that prevented infection, the real killer in head wounds long-term. Effects. Permanent facial disfigurement speech. Difficulties, though he learned to speak clearly enough to be understood. Occasional seizures, 2-3 times yearly. For the rest of his life. Chronic pain, never complained. But medical records document painkiller prescriptions, left side facial numbness, permanent nerve damage. Yet he lived to 96, farmed, hunted, functioned normally. The human body's resilience is extraordinary. The question nobody asks, did Simo have PTSD? Modern psychology recognizes post-traumatic stress disorder as a nearly universal response to combat trauma. But Simo lived in an era when PTSD wasn't diagnosed. You just dealt with it. Evidence suggests he absolutely had PTSD. Symptoms documented by those who knew him. Nightmares. Neighbors reported hearing him cry out in his sleep. He never discussed it. Hypervigilance. He positioned his farmhouse to have clear sight lines in all directions. Always knew where exits were. Slept with a loaded rifle within reach. Emotional numbing. Former soldiers who visited described him as distant and cold. He rarely showed emotion. Avoidance. He refused to discuss the war. Visit memorials or attend veteran gatherings. Classic avoidance behavior. Survivor's guilt. In the one extended interview he gave in 1998, he said, "Many better men than me died. Why did I survive?" This haunted him. Startle response. A neighbor accidentally slammed a door near Simo in the 1950s. Simo dove behind a table, reaching for a weapon that wasn't there. He was embarrassed afterward, said, "Old habits. But here's what's remarkable. Despite clear PTSD symptoms, Simo functioned. He held a job, maintained his farm, had friends, not many, but some. Lived independently until age 92. How? Likely through the Finnish concept of sisu, stoic perseverance, pushing through pain without complaint. It's not therapy. It's not healthy by modern standards. But it worked for Simo's generation. Modern psychologists debate whether Simo's refusal to discuss his trauma was healthy, suppression, or harmful, avoidance. The answer is probably both. He survived. But he carried those 5 deaths with him every day for 62 years. The ethical question, was Simo a hero or a killer? This question divides people even today. Let's examine both sides. Hero. Defended his country from unprovoked invasion, Soviet Union attacked. Finland without declaration of war, every soldier Simo killed was an invader on Finnish soil. His actions saved Finnish lives by making Soviet advances costly. He never killed civilians. Only combatants operated within laws of war, Geneva Convention, killer, tvåmaj, human beings dead by his hand. Many Soviet soldiers were conscripts who didn't want to be there. Sniper warfare is impersonal. Victims never see their killer. He became efficient at killing, which requires emotional detachment. Some kills were unnecessary, e.g., soldiers retreating, no longer threats. Simo's own view. He never called himself a hero. When pressed, he said, "I did what was necessary. Nothing more." In his only extended interview, the historian asked, "Do you regret any of it?" Simo's response, "I regret that it was necessary. I don't regret doing it. That's the most honest answer possible." He understood the moral weight of what he did. He understood he killed 505 people who had families, dreams, lives. But given the same circumstances, he'd do it again. Because the alternative was Finland's occupation. War doesn't offer clean moral choices, just terrible necessities. The legacy, what Simo teaches modern soldiers. Today, military academies worldwide teach Häyhä principles. Discipline over emotion. Simo never acted on anger, fear, or excitement. Every shot was calculated. Every decision was tactical. Simplicity over complexity. He used iron sights when everyone else used scopes. Why? Simpler, more reliable, no glare. Lesson: simple solutions often outperform complex ones. Environment is your ally. Simo used winter to his advantage. Cold made enemies sluggish. Snow provided camouflage. Low sun angles at high latitudes created long shadows for concealment. Patience wins. He waited hours for perfect shots. Modern snipers learn this. The patient sniper outlives the impatient one. Humility keeps you alive. Simo never bragged, never took unnecessary risks, never viewed himself as invincible. Arrogance kills snipers. Know when to quit. After his injury, Simo retired from combat. He didn't let ego drag him back into war. Lesson: survival means knowing your limits. The final pilgrimage. Russian veterans visit Simo's grave. In 2008, something extraordinary happened. A group of Russian veterans, men who'd fought in later Soviet wars, but whose fathers and grandfathers fought in the Winter War, visited Finland. They went to Simo's grave. One veteran, Igor Pavlov, no relation to Yakov from Pavlov's house, age 81, placed flowers on the grave. A journalist asked why. His response: "My father fought in the Winter War. He survived. But many of his friends didn't. Maybe this man, this Simo, killed some of them. I don't know, but I'm here because war is over. Stalin invaded Finland unjustly. My father knew this but couldn't say it. Simo Häyhä defended his home. If Russians invaded my home, I would do the same. He was a soldier. I am a soldier. We respect that, even across former enemies. It's a remarkable moment. The sons of the nation Simo fought against honoring him, not because they forgive the killing, you don't forgive war, but because they understand it. Another Russian veteran, Mikhail Sokolov, said, "White death was our nightmare." But nightmares come from real threats. Finland was a real threat because they fought for their survival. We would do the same. This is the ultimate tribute. Former enemies recognizing that both sides were doing what they thought necessary. Hate fades. Respect remains. 2024. The world remembers. Today, Simo Häyhä remains the deadliest sniper in recorded history. His record will likely never be broken. Every year on April 1st, the anniversary of his death, Finnish veterans gather at his grave. Fewer each year. The Winter War generation is gone. Their children are dying. Soon, only historians will remember. But Simo's story endures because it represents something universal. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things when circumstances demand it. He was a farmer. 5'3", tall, quiet, humble, no military ambitions. No desire for glory, then his country was invaded. And he became the most lethal sniper in history. Not because he wanted to, because it was necessary. If you're watching this video, here's what you should take away. Simo Häyhä killed 505 Soviet soldiers in 100 days. That number is horrifying. It should be horrifying. Each number represents a human life ended, but context matters. Finland was invaded by a nation 30 times its size. Simo and soldiers like him made that invasion so costly that the Soviets sued for peace. Was he a hero? Was he a killer? He was both. And he knew it. The real lesson isn't about glorifying war or celebrating killing. It's about understanding what ordinary people become when survival demands it. Simo was a farmer who became a weapon. Then when the war ended, he became a farmer again. He didn't let war define him. He did what was necessary, then went home. That's not heroism. That's humanity. The Soviets sent 700 soldiers to kill one Finnish farmer. He killed 505 of them instead. Then he took an explosive bullet to the face, went into a coma, woke up the day the war ended, and lived another 62 years farming. They called him White Death. He called himself a man who did his duty, and that's the most terrifying thing about Simo Häyhä. He wasn't special. He was just a normal person who refused to let invaders take his home, which means, under the right circumstances, anyone could become him. That should terrify you. And it should inspire you, because when survival demands it, ordinary people do extraordinary things. If this story made you think about war, survival, and the cost of defending home, share it. Remember Simo Häyhä, not as a hero. Not as a killer, but as a reminder that war doesn't need monsters. It just needs ordinary people in impossible situations, and those ordinary people will do whatever it takes to survive.